Your success is based on your on being true and authentic and real and loving and serving and really in your beingness. And that has to come through the root. And the root is vision. The root is aligned vision.
Hello, and welcome to Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. This podcast is dedicated to chiropractors who are in the seasons of launching and building their practice. Join myself, Dr. Lona, and my co-host, Dr. Bobby, as we have conversations each week as it relates to building the practice of your dreams. And remember, you can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. We're here to lead you on the way. All right, welcome back to the Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. I have a very special and beautiful guest here today who is one of the most gentle, calming voices and personas. So you're in for a real treat. I'm here with Dr. Sabrina Gya, which means also Mother Earth, which we were just talking about. We love her last name and its meaning. And I think this is going to be a little different tone than what our normal podcasts have been. And we're going to be talking about vision and reinventing yourself in your vision with clarity. So Sabrina, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, I'm British, living and practicing in America in New York, which was quite the transition, Lona. I've been in practice for 25 years and I just love to serve and I love to see lives transformed. And it's probably the most important thing to me. My highest value is to enlarge the kingdom of God, of God, using my voice. And in really just making impact and knowing that we are giving our gifts to the fullest, because if we're not, there's a little bit of a slow death that happens inside. So it's absolutely vital that we align with ourselves, align with our purpose and what we're designed for and why we were brought here in the first place.
That's, I think, a rich sentence right there. Like if we're not aligned with ourselves, there's a little bit of a slow death inside. And we also can't share that with other people to align themselves if we're not aligned ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And so, so I'm a very strong believer in vision and in creating it. And that vision can change, that nothing's set in stone.
Right.
But again, it comes with alignment and frequency and tone and the energetics of who you're being. I don't believe that business is a black and white business, and practice, especially when we are truly servant-hearted. Business is actually not black and white. It's a spiritual journey, and your success is based on your on being true and authentic and real and loving and serving and really in your beingness. And that has to come through the root. And the root is vision. The root is aligned vision.
And have you always been someone that kind of felt that, knew that, deeply honored that, or how did that progress for you?
Absolutely not. I think that we all learn through getting wounded and doing things, I don't want to say the wrong way, but doing things in ways that don't particularly serve the highest good. I remember the first time I really looked at what is my vision, like what's my vision for my career. Now that I look back, I think it was quite I didn't know that I was being ego driven at the time, but I think it was ego driven. At the time I wanted to set up multiple practices, both between the US and the UK and Europe. But then over time, I think also having family and being a mom and everything changed. I started to realize that my true wealth, and this is for everyone, our true wealth isn't financial only. We need to be prosperous because our prosperity and the money that we bring in is a reflection of the amount that we've served. So there's an energy exchange there, and money really is energy and flow. and a
Agreed.
reflection of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then true wealth for me are all the things that come for free.
Mm-hmm.
So like the sunshine, like right now we're sitting in this beautiful hotel, we're in Orlando with palm trees
In sun.
in the sun,
Yeah.
sitting with incredible people, and then being able to see my children and watch them grow and allow for them, and living a very surrendered life where you appreciate the small things, you get to smell the roses, you nourish and nurture those around you. And I live a very I have such an intimate relationship with God, and that's like my favorite, most important everything. It's like it's everything to me. And so, I think that when we're talking about vision and was I always like this? No way. And now, that vision's completely different. Like my vision is much more well-rounded. And I know
Instead of
that
being externally driven.
yeah,
Yes.
externally driven, and it's not about me anymore. The vision is about did I make enough of an impact? Did I express all my God-given gifts? Are you doing that? Are you expressing all of you, not just in your business, but all of you as a woman, as a mother, as a friend, as a partner? Are you expressing it all? And then as women, are we also allowing ourselves to receive? Because vision is fueled not by just giving, but by receiving. You receive your vision from God, and your vision must be filled with desire. And desire for me means desire of the sire of God. And so those are my highest priorities. Um, Serving the kingdom and being of God. And I don't want to have that time, when I get to the end of my days here, I want to know that I did all that I was created to do. And I think that that's important for all of us. And then for us as coaches, I think that's the root of what we do is making impact through just allowing people to really be true to what success looks like for them.
Yeah, their vision, right? And pursuing that.
Yes.
Yeah. That is beautiful. So, when I take you back and you've gone through a metamorphosis here of transformation and, that original vision you shared where you wanted to scale multiple offices across multiple continents, right? Even if you were still pursuing that, there's a different way you're going about it now when you had said like, the vision is coming through you and you're wanting to pursue what you've been imbibed with essentially through God. And so you said a couple of words when you were talking about, you said the word surrender. And I think that, the earlier version of me wouldn't have necessarily like educatedly understood the word, but I wouldn't have understood like the surrendering process that happens in a vision so much. Like so much of when you are connected to your vision, this purpose that you hold, the thing that doesn't go away in your mind and your heart, right? There is an element of like, there's many layers of you that have to be surrendered, and there's many small deaths almost too in pursuing something greater, right? So maybe if you could talk a little bit about, as the chiropractor and the business owner, some of the surrendering that you've experienced in pursuit of a bigger vision, a different vision, a more fulfilling vision.
Yeah. I think for me, I was very gentle and sweet and quite shy. And even us doing this podcast, if you'd have told me 30 years ago that I'd be doing even a podcast or speaking publicly or anything like that, I mean, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. In fact, when I was very little at school, the teachers got my parents to do a hearing test on me because I was so shy. And I didn't answer any questions. I didn't do anything because I was so ridiculously shy. And so, I think that the biggest thing that you have to do, where you have to die to yourself, is to turn off the ego and make it not about you. I think that's it. And all the decisions that you make, whether it's on how to run your team, how to train your team, whether to go out into your community, it takes some boldness and it takes some humility. And it's so hard. And that's the surrender. The surrender is, okay, God, I'm going to surrender to your divine will and your plan. You gave me all these gifts. If I don't go and express them and spread the word, and for us, spread the big idea and talk about longevity and legacy and generational wealth by speaking the truth of above down, inside out, then and that we have this innate inborn intelligence that runs life, that gives us life, that allows for optimized potential, then if I don't go and say any of those things, you have a responsibility. Once you know, you can't unknow.
Yes.
Once you know, you can't unknow. And so
that gives me chills.
Oh my gosh, you cannot unknow and you cannot unlearn. And then I think each of us as chiropractors have our own story of how chiropractic saved our lives. And I have many, like hundreds, thousands, emotionally, spiritually, physically,
Right.
And really understanding that the power that made the body heals the body is not just a line, not just a line.
And that life flows above, down, inside out,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah, it's
so
not just a line.
all of it, when you're, yeah, the surrender, the surrendering is all of it. It's the stop your people pleasing. You have to be bold. You have to say no when it's a no, yes when it's a yes. It's the hardest thing. And honestly, I'm always still working on it. We're always still working on it. And getting down on your knees sometimes and doing the work, within yourself and shedding the layers and shedding what you thought was supposed to happen. And
that,
that living under the grace of God and just grieving those parts of yourself that you thought were real, because they're not. And there isn't a real you. You're multiple versions, and you get to choose which one to live out. You get to choose who you're going to be, how you're going to be, and choosing your thoughts, choosing your words, pausing. I mean, it's deep. It's deep, but all of it.
You never have it arrived because it's a constant iteration change, right? Which is the beautiful part. This is the abundance in it, is the becoming of who you get to keep becoming when you realize that you have, through God, through this power that's working through you, like the newness every day, right? Of like, where do we want to go from here, right?
Who am I today and who are you calling me to be? And so, that comes with quiet time. Something I know I say this a lot. One of my best things that I ever learned from TRP was slowing down to speed up.
Same.
Reflection, meditation, prayer, listening, feeling into the tone of your life, seeing it happen before it's happened, and being grateful for what has for the wish fulfilled, right? So the slowing down is the go just leads to burnout, and it leads to burnout without the illumination, emanating through. You might think you're doing well, but if it's not the spiritual path, it's not going to work.
Yes, which is the many little deaths in that too, right?
Yeah,
it's to be a chiropractor and to get to serve people through the gifts of chiropractic, some of them being the transformation we go through as we go deeper and deeper in what I believe is like the true principle and essence of what chiropractic offers humanity. Re-listen to this, because so much of what you're speaking is chiropractic, right? And through third-party insurance and lots of things, we've maybe deviated from what we've been taught chiropractic is, but at the core of chiropractic is this connection to innate, to God working through us, right? And as you keep evolving, then the stewarding of the people you get to help keeps increasing.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Always, always. And, sometimes some of these deaths feel like death.
Yeah.
And you almost think that it's the end. Oh my goodness, I've reached the end, but it's never the end. It's the breakthrough. The breakdown is the breakthrough.
Yes.
So everything that we go through brings us to more. And that death is always, if you choose for it to be, is the rebirth. It's the rising from the ashes as the powerful next version or phoenix that you are. And so um, it is the hardest thing, and I think revisiting your vision. I mean, I've got some incredible other chiropractors. I mean, oh gosh, the best people I've ever met are chiropractors. Am I allowed to say that? Sounds so biased, but it's just the truth.
I would agree.
My favorite people, because there's the wisdom that flows once you are aligned above, down, inside out is like no other. It's infinite. And so, I most of the time I like to just listen. I don't really like to speak too much because I really enjoy listening and being. And one of our colleagues, he has his vision, he laminates it, and he rewrites it every single Sunday. And he has a beautiful routine of he reads it 3 times a day. It goes with him wherever he is. And I think that all the little hacks with keeping yourself aligned are not to write it or to say it and then put it away.
Right. It lives.
Record it, listen to it over and over, and whatever doesn't feel true to you anymore, you discard. Whatever feels true to you, you keep going.
Yes.
And you grow the parts that ignite, and you let go of the parts that don't. But there has to be something there in the first place. There's no guessing.
Right. It's in your belly. It's in your heart. Yeah.
There's no guessing. And then, we then translate that into action and behaviors and rituals and routines. And then that drives our systems. Like underpinning all of our systems in our businesses is that vision. And you have to see it happen before in detail. You have to see it before it's even happened. And if you can't see it, you either have to go into an even deeper state, or it wasn't the right vision, and you have to revision your vision.
And sometimes the collisions that you create for yourself, whether it's going to seminars or going to someone else's office or time away on a vacation, are the ways that you get clarity, right? You can be wrestling with something that feels unclear and it's still meant for you, but you're not either quiet enough or you haven't seen a close enough example, or maybe the converse of the example, right? Because sometimes knowing what you don't want helps you know what you do want to pursue.
And I think something I know that has happened to me over and over again, that I must be careful over now, is making sure that someone else's vision doesn't become mine. Thinking if someone's really, really expansive and energized and inspirational, and you catch that, there's that part that you catch of catching the energy of someone realizing their vision, but then you have to really make sure that your vision really is your own, and that you're not trying to live out someone else's. And because again, that will be, it feels like an internal destruction when you align with someone else's, and it's almost like a disobedience within yourself, a misalignment. It's another subluxation. It's another form of subluxation when you're not with your own, you're with someone else's. It's huge.
And I love that word disobedience is great. A great use there. And for those of us that run our own practices and are creating our vision for our practices, we are going to attract people who we want to be innately aligned with that vision. Like they hold those visions and they're a piece of the pie so that we're all working towards our higher vision through the work that we do and collaborate on, right? So so good, Sabrina.
So good,
Yeah.
so good.
Thank you for all of this.
Like one last thing to add, I think, is the vision isn't in your mind. It has to be embodied in your state and in your body. So there are different ways to hack into that. Different somatic work that you would do with yourself. Feel where the energetic blocks are within you. Feel where the stuck is. Really embodying that, and then even making sure that you're moving while you were listening to your vision. I spend a lot of time on my bike listening to my vision, like sometimes over and over, for a whole hour, sometimes over and over and over. And movement changes everything. Yes. Like you drive it into your system, and especially embodied connected movement. So I think for women, it could be dance. For men, again, like moving in a way that engages the masculine. For women, moving in the way, the breath and tone and frequency and sound. That was something I just felt in the moment that I needed to say and share. It's not in your mind, it has to be in your body.
Yeah. It's both.
Both.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes. All right, Sabrina, if people would love to connect with you, do you have an Instagram? How can they find you? She is one of the TRP coaches.
Yeah. I mean, through TRP, we've got our website, theremarkablepractice.com. Got Dr. Sabrina at theremarkablepractice.com. And then I have my Instagram, which is Dr. Sabrina Gya, and Facebook. So, if you want to catch me, it's quite easy.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy
find
to
her.
find me.
Yeah. And she's like the shining light that walks into the room. So you'll notice her for sure. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having this conversation.
Always an honor. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, please click the links in the show notes to schedule a call.